Hello everyone, welcome back to JDCodebase. This is the web development series. In the last few videos, we learned about the Node.js, Express.js, routing, middleware, request data, and it's time to understand something very important for the backend development, which is the REST API design. If you want to build the website, mobile apps, or any modern application, then you must understand how API are designed properly. So in this video, we will learn how API are designed properly and REST API in a very simple way. So today we will learn about what is an API, REST principle, HTTP method, HTTP status code, API URL structure, how to create a REST API using the Express, and how to test API using the Postman. So let's start from the very basic. Now, what is an API? API stands for the Application Programming Interface. In simple word, if I say API allow two applications to talk to each other. Like imagine you have open a React website in your browser. Now this website want to show user data, but that data is stored in the backend server built with the Node.js. So what happened? Step one is a like front end send a request to the server. Example a get user request. And step two, server receive the request and process it. And step three, a list of user in the JSON format means server response back, and a list of user in the JSON format. So basically, front end send the request, back end process it and send the response back to the front end. And this communication happens through the API. These three letters, API. Now, what is REST API? API is a application programming interface. But what is the REST here? REST stands for the representational state transfer. And don't worry about this complex names, representational state transfer. In simple word, if I say REST API is a standard way to design the API using the HTTP. REST API usually use the HTTP method, URL, JSON data, and if I say get API slash users, and we are requesting all the users from the server. And REST API follow some rules and principles which make them easy to use and scalable. So let's understand those principles. First one is the stateless. This stateless means the server does not remember previous request. Every request must contain all the necessary information. For example, if user is login, every request must include an authentication token, and like user login one time. Then after login, it goes to the dashboard and access to update their profile or add the product or add their new something else. So every time all these requests they have to push means verification. For that they need a token, and the server will not remember previous request in this, and this make the system more scalable and simpler. Second principle is the client server architecture. This one is very important here. Client server architecture. In this design, client and server are separate. Yes, client is a front end, server is a back end. Client means React application, mobile application, browser. Server means a Node.js APIs, Express backend. Client send the request to the server, and server process them, do something calculations, and send the response back to the client. And because they are separate, we can update the front end or back end independently. This make application easier to maintain. Now third one is the uniform interface. This means API should follow consistent patterns, like get user for updation means a query pattern, post the user, put the user for updation, delete the user. If developers see these URL, they can immediately understand what the API does. So consistency is very important in this. This is actually good practice in the development. Now, fourth one is the resource based. In the REST API, everything is treated as a resource. Like examples like users, product, order, post. Each resource has its own endpoint. Like users have the four to five means post user, register user, then get the old user, get the user by ID, or delete the user, update the user. These 4-5 things are comes in the user. In the product also, add the product, update the product, delete the product, get product by ID. Same for the order, same for the post, means in a blog, in a social media platform. So instead of action like create user or delete user, use the slash user slash product slash orders. These are the best resource endpoint for these type of things. And REST API focus on the resources. Now let's come to the HTTP methods in the REST. HTTP method define what operation we want to perform. The four most common methods are the get, post, put, delete. Let's understand each one. Get is used to retrieve the data from the server. Like get the user, this will return all the user. Or post is used to create a new data, and this will create a new user. And put is used to update the existing data. And put user one like this one is used for the updating the data, and delete is used to remove the data from the database. Now let's come to the HTTP status code. When the server responds, it also sends a status code. Like in the previous video, we are using this Postman. If you see where this 200 comes, I means I'm not sending anything 200. I'm not writing 200 in the files. Then where this come? This come for by the default. This is a HTTP status code. This code tells us what happened with the request. Like here 200 comes. Okay, the request was successfully proceed. And 201, it's for created. A new resource was created. Like a register means user register or product is enter in the list. So 400 is a bad request. 404 is a not found. 500 for internal server error, like something went wrong on the server side, means your server any bug happen or any breakdown. Now good REST API URL structure. Example is like API users one, product, order. Bad example would be get the user, create the user, delete the user. Because REST API should focus on resources, not on the action. Even if I tell you honestly, when I am learning these things in my initial days, in my means in the college time or in working, I also use get user, create user, delete user. But after writing many codes, contact with the seniors, in the mentoring of the seniors, I get these things, means write this only API user. API is for the means this is the best practice. Also come here the version 1, version 2, means when you update the any API. So this is a basic syntax for this, means a good practice in the development in the software engineering. Now REST API structure, folder structure. Yes, this is also a best thing. A good project structure looks like in the main like you initialize a folder, you initialize npm init -y, then you create the app.js or index.js or server.js. All these things files are the similar, means have the same motto. Then you create the routes folder, controller folder, models folder, and inside this you write the user route, user controller, user model. Don't worry, we will build these files and write the code inside this in the upcoming videos also. So this structure help us to keep the code clean, organized and scalable. And writing the API is a different way, means you write the code, that's not a big deal. But how you write the code, how you organize your code, how you organize your files, that is also a thing comes in the development. Because you write the code now in the 2026, but after 2 years if someone comes and see for any updation, then they see that mess. No, that's not a good practice. Now let's see a simple REST API with the Express. This is a normal I already built this that npm init -y means a Express.js structure. Now let's create this server.js file. const express equal to require express, and means first we have to import the express. Const app equal to express, and after that we are using the get the data, means request.body I use. For that we need a middleware express.json. This is a inbuilt middleware in the in this. Now this accept is this allow our server to accept the JSON data, right? Now let's create a app.get slash users and request response, and it send the response.json in the, let's say, message, that is the get all users, and this is how we send the data actually. And this API will return just a simple message, get all the users. Next is you now create a post route, app.post, again users, here request response, and in this response.status, here status is a 201 for the creating any data, and a JSON format inside this message that says user created. What happened to this? Okay, I forgot that column. I'm just writing that how you send the data. I'm not doing any calculation. I'm not getting the data or posting the data right now. So for the making any data or registering any data, use the 201. Means created a new resource in the database. Now for the create an update API, for that app dot put slash users colon ID. I already tell you the in the last video we covered this, why I write the colon here. Then request dot response, and here response.json, that is the message that says user updated. And same for the delete API, the same message change only. Now just start the server app.listen and the 3000, and here is the just a callback, and that says console.log server running on port 3000. So now your server is running. Just run the node server.js file, or use the node daemon for the running again and again whenever something changed. You can test, like if I write here the open the Postman, use the post, and just right here send button. Now see, it says 201, and Postman all give us the a new resource was created successfully. Means I'm not giving any data, but it says a new resource was created successfully. If I say get, then I get the 200, okay, and get all the user. And this is a good way to write the message, or if any error comes, then use the error also. This is actually good way to use them. Now testing API using Postman. I already test one API. You have to test all others if you want. Just change the method post, put or delete, and just press the enter button. Now best practices for the REST API. So before finishing, here are some important best practices for you. Use the clear resources name, use proper HTTP method, use the correct status code for the creating a resource 201 or not found, or internal server error, and return the JSON responses, and keep API consistent. Use API versioning like v1, v2, This is a by default method path you have to use in your project. Don't worry, I will tell you when to use it in the upcoming videos when we create the project. So today we learn what an API is, what a REST API is, REST principles, HTTP methods, status code, structure, API structure, and building an API with the Express, testing API with the Postman, and REST API are the standard way modern application communicate with the server. So that is for today's video. If this video, in the next video, we will continue learning more backend development concept with the Express. If you enjoyed this video, like the video, subscribe to JDCodebase, and share it with your friends. I'll see you in the next video.